Hey, y'all. It is Coach V. I am the words activator. And first of all, let me say I am new here to my own channel. I'm definitely going to say welcome back to me. Welcome back to us. Listen, I have had to dust myself off, my nerves, and you know what? Let me just say up front, it has been a calming, grace-filled, and just reflective time. And look, what I am saying, I am easing back into this, okay? I'm easing back into this. So if I look like I'm reconnecting with my own channel, mind y'all business. Because that's exactly what I'm doing. I am reconnecting with you. And I am here. The Wi-Fi is here. And the Holy Spirit is here, hopefully. So we already winning. But truthfully and honestly, I appreciate every single one of you guys still staying committed to be followers of my channel. And when I sit here and I think back, and I honestly didn't know that has been so long since I've actually been logged on, because I stepped back a minute to lastly do some things surrounding my daughter's medical issues. And I came back, I did a few more videos, and then I went back out again. And me going back out meant that I was dealing with the same thing with my daughter. That has not changed. But I feel like this time around, it was a lot more intense. It was a lot more to absorb in the time frame I thought I would be able to. And unfortunately, I had to just take a moment and say, look, this is a priority. My daughter needs me. Looking back at it, there wasn't anywhere that I could have done anything differently. But thank God for grace. And so tonight, or shall I say early morning, because it's probably around 2 o'clock in the morning as I'm creating this video, it's really just about just being real. Nothing's polished. Nothing is ever perfect. I just wanted to be here to show up honestly and just reflect with you guys over the past couple of months. What's sat with me, what's been happening, and life has been teaching me some things in this season. But honestly, this break feels like I'm coming back rejuvenated in a sense. Although so much has been surrounding the past few months, I can sense that time is really moving rapidly at a rapid pace. So I'm gonna just be here with you guys and guide you through it and go over what's been going on with me for this extended period of time. And if I had to sum up this whole message in just 10 seconds, it would probably be, even while I was quiet, God was still working. And that's pretty much what this life is about. So I'm going to tell you guys, I looked and I was reevaluating everything that I've done over the course of the few months. And in my head, I really thought that my last video was around February 16th. I do not know why I thought it was February 16th. But when I went back to take a look at my videos and everything that I had completed, I was like, okay, either I'm missing something now because it's now March 16th. And I look back and I'm like, hold on, the whole month of February is not here. or at least half of February is not here. I would say half, because I was pretty sure that I left off on February 16th. I think I even told a coach that I was, or mentor, I should say, looking towards doing these lives every day, that I stopped and capped off on February 16th. And I'm like, I go back in and I'm like, no, that's not the case. You last uploaded your last video or did your last live on January 16th. So the last known to me on YouTube posting is from January 16th. So I'm even more blown away, because that means that it was more than 1 month. Sis, I'm just as shocked. Because baby, when I tell you, I looked at my page and I'm looking at my page like, oh no, ma'am, YouTube's like, respectfully, your last video was posted on January 15th. So I'm like, hold on, January? 60 days, sis. 60 days. 60, not 30. And that was not a little break. And I'm sitting over here like, wow. And I think I've even gained like 1 or 2 followers since then. And I'm like, God bless y'all heart. Because baby, the way I have not been here, and I'm just like so grateful for the followings. And my own memory took me out. But when I say this, it brings a lot of things into perspective for me, because sometimes life is really just life, and time just doesn't move normally when you're under certain circumstances. You're not thinking about the timing in that moment, in those actions. You're actually thinking about what is going on with you and the things you have to work through, and that's okay. You know, when you're in motherhood mode, responsibilities, and having a dependent that needs you in moments that you cannot guess, you're walking through a season of maybe healing, and real life is just calling you, and you have to deal with what's in front of you. And sometimes, the calendar can get blurry. Now, I have to be honest as well. I will say that although things are a little better here at home, my daughter was admitted in the hospital last week. And just so you guys know that in a little more context of where the time has been in that sense, and it has required much more of my attention. And so it's very easy to forget the dates without realizing it. And if you guys are mothers out there and you have children, you know what it feels like when your child needs you. So I will say this. It just allowed me to say, hey, Fee, you gotta settle back. Gotta let your content schedule sit there and just be still. Yeah. So at some points I would say that I did start to feel guilty, but I had to remind myself, okay, I know you want to post daily. I know you want to continue on the trend. And motherhood is not an interruption to purpose, guys. I just want to let you know that. You being a mom is not an interruption to your purpose. It is a part of your purpose. I used to look at this in one way, but it's not the way that I should look at it. Because it's a part of you. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your journey. You don't give up motherhood to say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to put this to the side. I've had enough of that. I'm just going to walk in my purpose now. Sis, when you have children, excuse me, when you have children, sis, your children become a part of your purpose. Matter of fact, they are automatically a part of your purpose, because God has blessed you to carry them, has blessed you with those children to teach them, and He has entrusted you to fill them up and teach them in the way that they should go, so that they will get older and they will never depart, right? So when I think of my children, I just think of just growth. But yeah, I would say to you all, it just made me realize how quick life can just be gone in a flash of a moment. While also out the past few months, I experienced 2 deaths in the family. I had an uncle that passed, I had a cousin pass, and one of my brother's classmates passed. It was like in threes. And this was, when we were in March. Yeah, this was the first week in March, between the end of February and the first week in March. So it was a week before Leanna entered the hospital. So that was something that we had to deal with. And I'm gonna not say deal with as in like it's a burden, but just to work yourself through mentally and emotionally when it's, you know, you're laying a family member to rest, and having to be there for the rest of the family. It can be challenging. Grief treats everyone differently. Grief is not dealt the same way with every family member. So I've just had to really reflect on how much has been carried, how much has been required, and how much needed my full attention over the past few months. And y'all know, even with me thinking and reflecting on those things, I want y'all to know that God was still working it all out, as He always does. And it's interesting because I wasn't even looking at it from that perspective. I was just trying to be calm and stay calm and find the best alignment, just a route, and just, okay, God, this is what you give me, this is what I'm working with, and trust that He knows best. And me doing everything that I've done as far as a few months and just feeling like I had missed out, I don't feel that way so much more. I think it was just feeling bad about not being there for you guys, because you're showing commitment, obviously still following me on this journey, and I'm so grateful for that. So that was something that was concerning to me. And I want to say this, and I think sometimes we need permission to say that without shame, is that life does sometimes require our presence personally. So, and we live in this world that we're every day, especially in the United States. We're constantly on the grind. We're constantly going and doing, producing, posting, building in public, outside of public, going to that job daily, giving ideas. And yeah, there is something wonderful and great in discipline, but there is also power in consistency. And I know about you guys, I believe in showing up. And that's so much why I wanted to be able to do this challenge every day. But truth does matter too, And all of the things that we face, truth matters as well. And what do I mean by that? It means truth sometimes is wisdom saying, take a pause, sis. This is where you need to rest. This is where you need to take a break. This is where you need to prioritize what's the utmost important thing, the thing that you have to have control over, and you need to have some sort of way to manage that in case it gets worse. Prioritizing those things, making life sustainable for yourself. And that's what I've been that's what I've been practicing and trying to do as well, to build a life where my life is not reflective, it's not reactive, where my life is not reactive to situations. I'll just be calm, and I'll know how to deal with those situations as they come. That's really important in today's time. And you know what? That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you unreliable. And it doesn't make you called less, because these seasons happen to the best of the best. And there's nothing that we can all do to control it. It's okay. if I'm being real, I think too many women are actually carrying guilt because they had to respond to real life when they're in the middle of doing something, whether it be work, whether it be an occasion that they had to dismiss or had to say, I'm not going to make it. I think that they take it to heart, that they don't know how to deal with these things, and that's why we're inconsistent, and then we really start to feel overwhelmed because we're pushing ourselves consistently and not stopping and taking the opportunity to relax. And then when we do, or if we do try to attempt it, look, now we're calling ourselves lazy when we're really just exhausted. Or we start calling ourselves failures when really we are in a heavy season and we just need that pause. And that type of mindset, sis, it can wear us out. But because then every pause feels like punishment to us, right? And the delays that we have when we're not feeling approved or having that approval from someone else that we may be seeking, what do we feel like? We feel like we're disqualified because we're delayed. And every life interruption feels like proof that you're not disciplined enough. Is it really discipline, though, sis? We know it's not true, but the number of things that we tell ourselves over and over, it's weird. It's ironic that we do that. And I, for one, really believe one of the biggest things that God has been showing me is a pause is not proof that you are failing. Sometimes it is proof that you are listening. I had to take a note and write that down, sis. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes one of the biggest things God is showing us, and I felt that He's showing me, is that a pause is not proof that I am failing. It's not proof that you're failing. Sometimes it is proof that you are listening. Imagine us being good listeners, being able to hear when God speaks to us. Yeah, that's a big one. So listening for me has felt like the past 2 months, listening to what my daughter's needs are, listening to what my body needs, listening to what my spirit needs, listening to what wisdom requires, and most of all, listening to what God is trying to show me beneath the surface. Because anytime things feel off, you should listen intimately and question, what is it, God, in this season that you want me to know? What is it, God, in this season that you're trying to tell me about? And that's just you yielding. You're yielding yourself to Him. Taking that pause and just saying, okay, I'm listening. And that honestly makes room for what matters in the moment when you take that moment to yield, because it's a reflection of your maturity, of your growth. And honestly, it's just plain grace. And God gives us so much grace. And I appreciate you all giving me the same. Now, going back to making the videos every day, guys, I still want to do this. I really do want to create my videos daily and go live daily. And it's really real. And I wanted to prove myself that I can be disciplined enough to show up every day. Just doing what I see a lot of content creators do and just wondering, could I do that? What would it look like if I was to accomplish that? I wanted to see how it would stretch me. And I honestly wanted to see the fruit of the consistency as a homeschooling mom. And I'm rebuilding after trauma, divorce, doubt, and all of the things that come with becoming again. Because, sis, I am still becoming. And the desire of that is still real. So I'm really interested in knowing what that would be like. So my discipline is not just repetition. My discipline also requires discernment. And in these seasons, what I said going forward, when I vowed to follow the path that God was leading me in, that I was not going to make the same mistakes twice. So when I have to adjust, I just have to adjust the needle and say, okay. And you guys know, sometimes the version of yourself that's disciplined only says, do it every day, no matter what. Do it every day, no matter what. But eventually, what happens is you punish yourself for being human. You'll ignore your real life. You'll ignore your needs. You'll ignore your family. You'll ignore your capacity. You'll ignore your wisdom. And you'll ignore your grace. And then you'll call it a commitment. No. But sometimes that is just self-pressure dressed up in church clothes. I want discipline, yes. But I don't want the kind of discipline that disconnects me from reality. I do not want the kind of discipline that makes me resent my own life. And I don't want the kind of discipline that turns my creativity into pressure and purpose into punishment. So I'm trying to align and stay aligned in the perspective of remembering the kind of discipline I would like to have is me showing up and saying yes, me stretching myself, me staying committed, but also being honest about me being present, me being wise, and me being aligned, and most of all, me being human and knowing that I'm a mom of 3, and knowing the things and the facts about me that I can't change that make me me uniquely. So there will be times that I know that I'll have to take a step back and change, or pause, or yield. And for me, that has been the real lesson for me to learn as I've been posting and just walking in my season. And I have been learning to follow God more deeply, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters the most, and how He's changing me internally and externally. So I'm excited to see where life takes me this year. And whether you guys know it or not, a lot has really transpired over these past 2 months. And when I look back over the 60 days, I can truly see that even though I was not publicly showing up the way I had planned, that God was still doing deep work in me privately. And I think that really matters, because if in everything meaningful in your life doesn't have to be public, but you need to believe you count. And sometimes you just have to take those moments for yourself and just do whatever it is you need to do. Now, the exciting part of this past 60 days has been really sharing with you guys what God has been doing in the quiet times. So this is the part how He really did bless me. And it's like I wasn't looking for it to take place. I wasn't looking for these things to happen. But while I was tending to my daughter and caring for what really mattered, I wasn't posting, not on YouTube at least, but I was really quiet. So now, y'all, when I tell you God showed up, God has allowed me to receive an invitation to be a speaker on an international speaking summit. It was, wow. I don't know what words I should use, but it was very, very, very exciting to do. I met 6 other panelists. It was 7 of us women. And it was Aloha and Align. Women Answer the Call. and 7 speakers. I want to say 2 of them were from overseas. It was an International Women's Summit for International Women's Day, which was super exciting. And I spoke about leadership and love. And I guess God was like, okay, so I'm going to push you a little further. A few months back, in around December time, after doing a podcast with one of my fellow colleagues in the speaking world, and she had a podcast, so she does have a podcast. And after the podcast, she ended up asking me would I be interested in writing a piece in her anthology that she would be doing. And I was like, me? Because I was pretty much a new coach. I hadn't been doing what I'm doing for a long time. But she said, yeah, I would like to invite you and have you write a piece, of your life for my anthology. So I thanked her so much for it and all. And I was just surprised. And little do I know, February this year rolls around. Mind you, that was January, February. It was about 2.5, maybe 3 months. And I had submitted my written piece to her, I think in the end of December, beginning of January. And she's announcing Valentine's week that she had published her new anthology, The Voices of Aloha. And I'm like, it's called Daughters of the King, Volume 1. And I was in shock because she messaged me and let me know, hey, it's been published. And I was like, no way. And for the first time, I was so giddy. I was all on Amazon trying to order my book just so I could see my piece in the book. And it was super exciting. I don't know. I think that's the most liberating feeling that I could have. Like, man, I'm a published author now, you guys. Can you believe that, sis? And in less than 8 months, God has shaped me. He shaped my life. He shaped me for the better. I feel like he's aligning people in my life that hopefully we have shared experiences and just love him, love all the things in Christ and walking this walk in faith and just being obedient to what he has for us. Yeah. It's so funny to me how God works because I really did not expect that to happen. It's just another confirmation of how he works. So I felt like God was reminding me that he didn't forget me, that I was still called, that I am still being positioned, and that I'm still being developed. And most of all, I'm still being seen. And being amongst so many talented, intelligent, faith-filled women blessed me so much because I know that I'm not working in my full capacity. But I know each day that God aligns women I can learn something from. We can learn from each other. And because sometimes God will put you in a room not just to platform you, but to confirm you. I'm going to say that again because I felt that was good. Sometimes God puts you in a room not just to platform you, but to confirm you. And what this means is to remind you who you are, to remind you of what's still in you, and to remind you that the pause did not disqualify you, sis. And I know all too well because after my trauma, my divorce, after rebuilding, after second guessing myself, after having seasons where I was trying to remember who I was, even outside of survival, that kind of confirmation does matter, sis. It matters deeply because sometimes all we can hear is the outside noise, right? You want evidence. You want alignment. You need to be reminded that even when life is heavy, God is still writing the story. And in fact, He is. He's still writing your story just like mine each day. So I know it's not coincidence that you found this YouTube video that you may be watching now. And that is what seasons in my life have felt like. They've not been full of accomplishment. They've just been full of confirmation. They haven't been just milestones. It's been mercy. It hasn't been, look what happened, but look what God was doing even when I was not visible. And that is testimony, indeed. Yeah. I like that I don't have to be perfect to show up. I love that God loves me just as I am. Even in the icky stages of life where it feels uncomfortable, He still has something for each of us. God is always faithful. Even when life is full, when you got a full plate, He's still faithful. So this is something else I want to share with you guys. As I shared with you about the summit and your girl becoming a published author. The love of God is truly real. And it's not just in the big dramatic moments, but sometimes His love shows up in timing. Sometimes it shows up in protection, and sometimes it shows up with just opening the right door. I have asked consistently and just meditated on what my life would be like if I had the right people around me. And as I might have mentioned earlier, that's something I take pride in. Just knowing that He's always had me covered by His grace, by sending the right people to be around me in my life, to lift me up when needed. These are not just people who are clapping for me. These are special people. When I say they have sent up some timber for me in prayer, in Bible study, and they've just been there for me. And that can be very challenging if you don't have people in your life that you can relate to and that have walked in the past that you are currently walking or you are going into. Because one thing about it, each one of us are going through a transitional period in our lives. Whether we're going into one, we're leaving, or we're going into another. It's like, yeah. But the right people, what I love about the right people, they bring us peace. They bring us alignment. They sharpen us as iron sharpens iron. And these special people will remind you what is in you when life has made you just feel tired. They remind you of why you do what you do. Because they've seen you before. They've seen you in those areas. They've seen your perseverance and they know what you're capable of. And sometimes God will just bring them to you. But always trust Him. Because he's right on time. He definitely is always right on time. And I know after certain experiences that I've experienced, I've just encountered a sense of peace about myself where I just don't want to be seen as this person that's just like, oh, wow, she's just wonderful. She's this, she's that. After a while, it's like, okay, God, I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for allowing me to have this growth moment. Yeah. So, sis, if you are in a time in your life and you're walking through a season where you feel like it's too quiet, where you feel like you've been forgotten, yeah. Let's see, where am I? I want to bring this talk back a little bit. So for me now, with giving you guys all the information I've shared and just the walk and what it's looked like for me the past 60 days. I want to talk about a little bit what it looks like going forward for me. Now, it means that I am back, but I'm back a little differently. I'm not coming back in panic, and I'm not coming back in guilt. And I'm definitely not coming back trying to prove that I never needed the pause, because as life would have it, apparently I did need the pause. But I am coming back in peace, and I'm coming back to what matters. And I still want to create. I will still create, and I still want to go live. So I will still go live, and I still want to show up more consistently, and I still want to grow. So I want to do it in a way that honors my actual life. I want this channel to be a reflection of my real life, my real faith, my real motherhood, my real rebuilding, my real healing, my real growth, my real humor, my real faith, not perfection. Because I'm not perfected. I'm becoming every day. And I'm okay with that. And I hope that you are okay with growing right alongside me. Because, baby, some days we gonna need that reflective. We gonna need some deep reflective and anointed. And other days, I'm gonna be looking at my phone while it's in my hand. So I'm just saying, in this season, it's not about trying to be polished all the time. I say all the time, have I ever tried to be polished? Y'all have to tell me, because I'm not sure. I know some of my videos might be a little well put together. They definitely are. You probably can see the difference with my videos too. So I still got my trainer wheels on. I want to see me when I reach 90 days, at least 3 months in the game, and see what my conversations are like then. So, but until then, it's going to be reflective each day. Each day. Just showing up in real time. Y'all do know us as moms. We are typically stretched and still purposeful. And we have paused many times over, and we still progressing. And this is my biggest one. And we can go quiet and still yet be aligned. And that's what you see in here in real time. So before I get off tonight, I'm going to say tonight early morning, I want to leave you with something. If you're in the comments, or even if you're catching my replay, I want you to please just put replay. And if you're seeing this for the first time, say hello, drop in the comments. Thank you for being here. And again, I'm Coach V, the Worth Activator. And I am showing you in real time what it's like to become as a mom entrepreneur, a mom who is homeschooling 2 kids, mother of 3, guiding women from chaos to calling, reminding you of your worth, reminding you of your God-given worth, reminding you in faith that you can still find your way and walk in your own purpose. So before we end the call, or I should say this YouTube, this live, I want to ask you guys, have I been calling myself inconsistent when really I have been carrying a lot? This is a question for you to reflect on. And I want to ask you the question, have I been shaming myself for a pause that may have actually been necessary? And if that is you, I want you to hear me. A pause is not the end of your purpose. Life happening does not mean you fail. Being needed in your home does not mean you're off track. Taking care of your child does not mean you are less committed. And quiet does not mean God is not working, sis. If anything, sometimes the quiet seasons reveal just how faithful God really is. So if this live bless you, put grace in the comments. And if you've ever had life interrupt your plans, put grace in the comments. And if ever you had a season where you were quiet publicly, but God was still moving privately, put grace in the comments. And if this is your kind of space, if you want to walk with me through this next season of faith, healing, motherhood, rebuilding purpose, and real talk, stay connected with me here. Because yes, I am back. A little rusty. Yeah, I'd say about 60 days worth of rust. And I've always been goofy, sis. But am I still called? Without question. So I just want to say thank God for that. And thank you all for continuing to follow me. And thank you for carrying me and just being there. And I just know that God is going to continue to open the doors. And I'm just grateful for the summit, the women. And man, your girl a published author. And that's a reminder for me saying, okay, now you can finish your book. I need to finish writing my book, sis. I'm like halfway there. So I really need to get back in the game and do that as well. I need to prioritize it for sure. And I'm thankful that even after the 60 days of silence online, that God still worked it all out for my good. So no starting over for me. Let's just look at this as a continuing phase with more wisdom, more grace, more truth, more peace, and with a deeper faith than I had before. Thank you guys for being here with me tonight. And yes, this is my first live back. So thank you all for being here. And I want you guys to remember that God is still working, even when you're quiet. See y'all tomorrow.